Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. So in the present video, we are going to look at the concept of anatomy of mammary gland. Don't forget to subscribe and join my YouTube community for more videos. Introduction to mammary gland. So mammary gland are specialized organs in females that is responsible for milk production. So mammary gland is only found in females, and the major roles of this mammary gland is produce milk, especially during lactation. And this mammary gland is located within the breast. The size and the structure of this mammary gland, it varies across individuals, so it is not the same. The size and the shape, as well as the structure of this mammary gland, it varies from one female to another. And very importantly, this mammary gland are usually or are developed primarily during puberty and pregnancy. So during puberty and pregnancy, this mammary gland are produced, as we can see clearly here. So then, of course, this is actually how the diagram of the mammary gland looks like. We have nipple. This is, of course, we have areola, we have lobules, and we have skin. So this is actually some of the major structures that are found in the mammary gland. So then the next thing is anatomy and the location of mammary gland. So mammary glands are situated within the superficial fascia of the pectoral muscles. So this is where we have the mammary gland. So it's usually situated in the superficial fascia of the pectoral muscles. And each gland is roughly shaped like an almond. So the shape of the mammary gland, it looks like an almond, as we can see clear, and extend from the second to the sixth rib. So very importantly, they are separated by a layer of adipose tissue. So these mammary glands, they are separated by a layer of adipose tissue, which gives the breast its size and shape. So you see, the size and shape uh, of the breast is determined by the layer of the adipose tissue. So the layer of the adipose tissue they are separated, and they are responsible for giving the shape and the size of the breast. So that is why you need to understand sometimes it's because these layers are weak, that is why the shape as well as the size of the breast changes. So then, of course, this is actually, let's look at it. This is the anatomy of the female breast, as of course, we have areola, we have nipple here, then we have lymph nodes. And of course, they are they are further divided into, of course, we have fatty tissue in the breast, we have lobe, we have duct, we have areola, we have nipple, and then we have, as we can see, lobules. So these lobules, they are the one that are actually the lobules as well as the layer of the adipose tissue are the one that are responsible for giving the breast its size and shape. So then the next thing is the structural component of the adipose tissue. So the primary component of adipose tissue include glandular tissue, ducts, adipose tissue, and connective tissue. So these are the primary major component of adipose tissue. The glandular tissue, it consists, as we can see, glandular tissue consists of lobes and lobules where milk is produced. So it means that the milk is produced in the glandular tissue, specifically by the lobes and the lobules of the glandular. So the duct system transport milk. The duct system is responsible for transportation of milk from lobules to the nipple for breastfeeding. As we can see, these are some of the structures. You see, this is the nipple, this is the areola, and then we have fat here, we have mammary lobe, and then we have mammary lobule, we have secondary mammary lobule, and then we have mammary duct, ampulla, and then we have lactiferous duct. So these are the major components of the mammary gland. So the next thing, of course, is the glandular and the lobes. The glandular tissue and the lobes. The glandular tissue is divided into 15 to 20 lobes, and each drained by by lactiferous duct. So each of the lobes divided by the glandular tissue are drained by a lactiferous duct. And of course, the lobules, of course, remember glandular tissue is made up of lobes and lobules. So the lobules within each lobe contain alveoli. And this alveoli is the milk producing units. So the milk producing unit in female is alveola, and this alveola, as we can see, the lobules within each lobe contain alveoli. So it means that in the lobe, we have lobules, and then the lobules contain alveoli. And then the alveoli is the milk producing unit. It's like industry. So specifically, the unit that is responsible for milk production is alveoli. So, and then the next thing, the alveoli are lined by secretory cells that respond to hormonal changes during lactation. So we should understand that. So the alveoli that is responsible for producing milk are lined by secretory cells. And the major role of these secretory cells that line the alveoli are responsible for responding to hormonal changes during lactation. So then the next thing is blood supply and innervation. So the artificial supply, the arterial supply mainly comes from the internal thoracic, lateral thoracic, and thoracoacromial arteries. So these are the mainly arterial blood supply. So the major arterial blood supplies are coming from internal thoracic, as we can see, internal thoracic, lateral thoracic, and then we have also thoracoacromial arteries. So, and then of course, the venous drainage occurs through the internal thoracic and axillary veins. So the venous drainage, this is how it happens. So it occurs through internal thoracic and axillary veins. So innervation is provided by the anterior and lateral cutaneous branches of the thoracic spinal nerves. So then in the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, is just summary and clinical relevance. So understanding anatomy of mammary gland is essential for diagnosing breast diseases. And the knowledge of ductal system aids in procedures like biopsies and surgeries. So the complex anatomy supports the gland vital role in lactation and reproductive health. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to stop. Please don't forget to subscribe and join my YouTube community for more videos. See you next.